Good evening, good kind of people. What's going on? Lee Sanders here. You're checking out the RCWR show for Monday night of July 19th, 2021. Few minutes removed. WWE Raw. Hey, look, at least we all got sent home happy. Yeah? Surely that finish there to the night. Come on. A little bit of a rocky night, was it not? Definitely a rocky night. But at least at the end, we all walked away and we had a smile on our face as we have a new Raw Women's Champion in Nikki Ash. Didn't get any better than that. I tell you what, didn't get any better than that. Found it really interesting that all throughout the night, when I look back on the episode now, we never saw any appearance by Nikki Ash whatsoever, be it at least in the form of an interview. Even a backstage interview, we never saw it. Not a peep. Not a peep. So you had that in the back of your mind, just wondering, could something maybe go down here tonight? Is it even possible? Maybe, just a little bit possible. So I like the tone that was set up ultimately in having Nikki Ash go over as the new Raw Women's Champion. Because when you go back to pretty much how the night started and how we ended up getting to that point, getting to that finish, pretty good. We're going to go over the results of the poll that we put out over the weekend, asking you guys that had saw Impact Wrestling's Slammiversary event, following up on that, just seeing where the final numbers are as it stands here tonight, at least on this episode, as this is going to be our last time revisiting it. We're also going to see what you guys had to say about Money in the Bank. I would imagine there was definitely a few of you guys, and I'm very well aware from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view Sunday night, a lot of you, after all those shenanigans went down with the streaming issues on Peacock, a lot of you guys had clocked out and said, yeah, you know what, I'm done. I'll just try to maybe watch this tomorrow, next day. Totally understand it. After all, some of you all had work, maybe school or doctor's appointment, whatever the heck was going on for you. You put in enough time as it was. By the way, before we go any further into the show, I do want to take this time out and say many thanks to those of you that had joined live. You had maybe called in or you had interacted on the poll that we had out during the live stream edition of Money in the Bank. I will be opening up the phone lines again for you all tonight. For those of you that maybe saw Slammiversary, you want to talk about it, or if you wanted to talk about Money in the Bank, but maybe the show was a little bit lengthy, maybe you didn't quite like the timing when we finally did get around to taking the phone calls. I can tell you right now up front, the way we're going to do this show tonight, very simple. All we're talking about is Raw, because since we were last on the air, nothing really has transpired. Nothing really. And it's fitting because the last show that we did, minus the Money in the Bank and the Slammiversary, there was a Friday night edition of the RCWR show that we did. And so any miscellaneous stuff that was going on, we did talk about that. So it's been pretty relatively quiet. So if there's something that is somewhat substantial you feel you want me to talk about here on the show, you could definitely throw it at me. Otherwise, all we're going to talk about tonight is Raw. We'll talk about Raw. I got the 15-minute mark right now over here on the East Coast. It's 11:15. Let's see where we are by about, I would say, 11:35 p.m. So that's about in 20 minutes. And then I say, no matter what, by that 35-minute mark, we'll open up the phone lines for you guys. So anybody that wants to call into the show, you'll be able to do it at that point. So about 20 minutes, we'll talk about Raw. We'll open up the phone lines. And I'll tell you what, if I haven't finished everything in regards to Raw by that point, definitely after we get done with phone calls, if any phone calls come in, we'll definitely resume the talk of Raw. But I figured it'd be kind of a nice way to do it for you guys tonight. So, kick on back, relax, enjoy yourselves and all that. I'll also show some love to AEW Dark as well, because I know AEW Dark Elevation was earlier tonight. I'll give you guys a rundown on that card, let you all know how it went. But seeing how we got to the point that we did with Nikki Ash as the new Raw Women's Champion, you got to set it up because Charlotte Flair comes out. She's basking in her glory. She's pretty much having a celebration of her own here and just rubbing it in people's faces. By the way, all apologies, as last night I had said a 14-time champion. I don't know why I was thinking that, but it kind of felt like that to me. But Charlotte Flair, as far as a singles women's champion goes, she is a 11-time women's champion. Now, maybe you can get up to 14 if you maybe had a women's tag championship run, and I don't know if there's other miscellaneous titles out there, but I mean, that's 12 right there. But I was close. Give me credit. I was a little bit close. I said 14 and it's actually 11. So seeing her come out there and basking in the glory of whooping Rhea Ripley's ass and everything, you're looking at this moment, and Dallas, Texas, by the way, hats off to Dallas, Texas, just the Texas area in general, a great host for WWE making its return to live fans. Definitely great energy all 3 nights. It felt like a big spectacle of an event. I think we can all definitely be in agreement of that. How great it is to have the fans back in attendance. It really, really is, because on those nights where it's a little bit dragging, let's be honest, because now it's night and day. I think we all can be in agreement of that. It really is night and day, because when you look at how things were with the Thunderdome, yeah, you've got the fans on the screens that's joining in virtually, but sadly, you don't get to hear them. And they're being somewhat choreographed, they're being somewhat produced by producers in their ear, telling them what to do and everything. All the stuff that you were hearing from that Thunderdome, as you all know, it's all piped in. It's all computerized. It's pretty much at the touch of a button. And that's pretty much how things were coming about. So to basically, let's be honest, some nights, those Thunderdomes, even with the virtual fans there, some nights it was pretty dragging. Some nights you're just kind of slumping in your chair or on your sofa. You're trying to get into it, but you really can't. And it's nights like what we've got these past 3 nights from, really, oh no, I would kind of say 3 nights, because really the ball got rolling with SmackDown, did it not? Fans being back in attendance. So really the ball got rolling there with that SmackDown. And then we go into Money in Bank, and now we culminate with what we got tonight and everything. So great having the fans back in attendance. But for Charlotte Flair to come out there, not only take jabs at Rhea Ripley, letting her know, hey, you could try to do all you want, beat me at my own game. You can try to copy me all you want. I'm the original. Yeah, there's just no comparing to the original. And I like how she rebounded very sharply when the fans began to chant Becky Lynch yet again. And you just knew from Sunday that, oh man, if you've learned anything watching the career of Charlotte Flair over the years, and on those rare instances where the fans have gotten the best of her, on one night, she comes back, guaranteed, she comes back the very next night, well prepared, and she pretty much checkmates them, put them in their place. And sure enough, you get the Becky chance. And what does Charlotte Flair do? She joins along with them. Becky, that's right, Becky is at home breastfeeding her newborn while I am here having match after match, winning championships after championships. And that had shut the crowd up. But leave it to Becky Lynch, who obviously was watching the product tonight. She puts a freaking hilarious tweet out there. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet, but I just died when I saw her tweet. I want to pull it up here because I actually had responded to it. And luckily, I didn't really interact that much tonight on social media. But here it is. She says, and I quote, breastfeeding at home and still the most over woman in the division. And it's the truth. It's the freaking truth. And, I get why fans in attendance there at Texas were feeling the way they were feeling. Hell, those of us that might have not been in Texas, just watching at home, if we're at least going around checking out some of our favorite wrestling sites, or we're just kind of saying to ourselves, man, well, now that WWE is back live with the fans there in attendance, yeah, maybe some of our favorites are now just all pretty much going to pop up. By the way, quick sidebar, isn't it hilarious how some of our favorite superstars are returning? It's almost as if, I don't know how many of you guys follow all the Marvel Studios movies and all that, but it reminds me so much of what went down with the Thanos snap. And in the case of in the WWE universe, what was their Thanos snap was the pandemic. And not only were all the fans gone from the WWE house shows and live events, but also some of your favorite superstars just took a step back and said, yeah, peace, homie. Holler at me when things get back to normal. We got them vaccines and all this other jazz, and we know a little bit more information. Holler at your boy then. And then all of a sudden, like 5 years later, remember that? The blip as they call it in the Marvel universe, the blip, like everybody's coming back from the blip. It's so hilarious. So, you're looking at this, and as soon as Charlotte Flair acknowledges Becky Lynch, I don't know how it was for you guys, but for me, automatically, I said, okay, you know what? The fact that we're already acknowledging Becky Lynch so sharply, and Charlotte wasn't even cutting her promo for not even 4 minutes. For me, at least, I don't know how it was for you guys, but for me, at least, it was an indication that, yeah, ain't going to be no Becky Lynch tonight. And if you were to ask me straight up, before anybody does ask, if you were to ask me straight up, Lee, when do you think Becky Lynch is potentially going to be returning? I am going for either SummerSlam as a surprise mystery opponent, like just unannounced, she just appears, or she appears on the SummerSlam, the post-SummerSlam edition of Monday Night Raw. So the Raw after SummerSlam. I think maybe she returns somewhere around that time frame, but it definitely feels, to me at least, what are we in right now? It's still July, basically. It definitely feels to me as though we're gonna see her before September. That's the vibe I'm honestly getting right now. So, you're looking at this, you're having in your mind, okay, so, all right, no Becky Lynch. Okay, well, surely we're done with Rhea Ripley because Charlotte just went vicious there on Rhea Ripley, downright freaking embarrassed her. Surely we're done with that, at least for now. Surely we're kind of selling the hell out of that leg injury that Ripley suffered at the hands of Flair at the pay-per-view, and maybe we'll see Ripley come back next week or in 2 weeks. No, we get Rhea Ripley, who comes out and looking pretty humbled and everything, and she tells Charlotte pretty much, look, you're feeling the way you're feeling right now. Won't you go ahead, be froggy, jump on out there? Let's do a rematch for that title here tonight. Since you talking big and bad and you can pretty much go anytime, anywhere, well, what about tonight? Charlotte backs down from that. Sonya Deville, Adam Pearce, however, they have other plans, and they decide, nah, you know what? You did just say you'd be willing to defend the title anywhere, any place. Okay, we're going to do this tonight, whether you like it or not. So Charlotte Flair, reacting to the news, kicks Rhea Ripley, goes dirty again on that knee of hers that she worked on from the pay-per-view. All right, that sets up the tone. Now let's fast forward a little bit, and those of you that's tuning in live right now, the plan for tonight's show, we're going to talk about Raw for about 20 minutes, but then we're going to open up the phone line. So those of you that want to talk about Slammiversary, if you saw it, or you want to talk about the pay-per-view, hell, you could even talk about what went down on Raw tonight if you saw it. You guys will be able to call into the show. It is 11:25 p.m. on the East Coast right now, so we're at the 25-minute mark. I'm going to talk about Raw for about 10 more minutes. So 35-minute mark, I'm just going to do a hard cut, and then we're going to open up the phone lines, and those of you that want to call in, you'll be able to call in. Just be patient, look for the number. When you get an opportunity, you'll be able to call in. So going into that main event match, you're going, okay, now we've set the tone. So we see Rhea Ripley come out. I got one bone to pick. Decent match overall. Decent match. Didn't quite live up, at least for me, to each its own, but it didn't quite live up to what I saw of these two girls do from the pay-per-view. They hit a freaking home run with that pay-per-view. I got to give them a lot of props for that. But tonight, where they lost me, I don't know if they lost you guys, but where they lost me was the in-ring psychology. Now, what do I mean by that exactly? From the moment that Rhea Ripley comes out, she should have this look on her face where not only is she confident, which she did radiate confidence, but she also, something that was greatly missed as she was walking out, going down the ramp, going into the ring and everything, something that was greatly missed. If Charlotte Flair did such vicious damage to your knee, to your leg, less than 24 hours at a pay-per-view, and then we go into tonight's Raw, and she does damage on that leg yet again, you need to be going out there limping. You need to be going out there selling the hell out of that leg. And I got to give Jimmy Smiths, Corey Graves, Byron Saxton, I got to give them props, because from the moment Rhea Ripley came out, they were talking about the leg. But, you know, Rhea Ripley wasn't selling it. That was the problem. Right down to the point, Rhea Ripley does her trademark jump up onto the apron, you know, stretching out her leg and everything. Little pose that she likes to do before she slides herself on in there. You're going, no. What you're supposed to be doing is just hitting the steel steps, maybe gingerly going up the steps, maybe kind of just shaking that leg a little bit, you know, trying to make sure it's complimenting the hell out of what the color commentators are saying there. Look, don't take it personal, y'all. Look, I'm a big fan of Rhea Ripley. But man, there were a lot of us. I was the first to point out what was going on there, just from that easy point of observation. This was not a case of me overanalyzing. I am just literally, I'm not even taking any notes. I'm just kicking back watching this, and I'm going, fucking sell the leg. What's going on here? But a decent match. Charlotte Flair, you just knew from the blueprint that was laid out at the pay-per-view that Rhea Ripley's leg was going to be the focal point, and if Charlotte had any shot at retaining this title, that's what she was going to be gunning for, and that's exactly what had went down tonight. So Charlotte Flair winning, you're going, okay, all right, so we're pretty much done here. This should be it. But then things get even more cooler. Things get even more interesting while Charlotte Flair is pretty much basking in her glory of defeating Rhea Ripley. You know, Rhea Ripley eventually, you know, manages to come to and everything, and she pretty much, oh, okay, sister, you got me this way. I owe you one. She pretty much gives Charlotte Flair a little bit of ass kicking there. Nice little receipt that she gave to her, and that pretty much had set up things for Nikki Ash to come out. So post-match, as yeah, this was interesting. Yeah, because I remember there was a kick to Charlotte. Then I remember, I believe, yeah, Rhea Ripley had tried to go for the Riptide. Rhea then limps over to the referee, complaining and all that, you know, try to give Charlotte a little bit of time to recover. All this is going outside the ring. While Charlotte is outside of the ring, she grabs her title and she pretty much tries to head back to the ramp. But then Rhea chases her, you know, up the ramp, belt shot to the face, and pretty much the match was over. So Rhea Ripley essentially won this match by DQ, but title doesn't change hands on that DQ. So Charlotte is standing in the middle of the ring with the title belt held high and everything. Her music is playing, but Rhea manages to recover. Like I said earlier, gets back in the ring. They're brawling and all that. Rhea gets the best of Charlotte as she sent her into the ring post. Nikki Ash's music hits. Rhea sees exactly what's about to go down, and she is just, with a big old Chester grin on her face, she's pretty much just, go for it, sister. So Nikki Ash cashes in the briefcase, goes up to the top of the turnbuckle, what felt like an eternity. It's like, just go for the splash already, just go for it. But she waits for Charlotte Flair to stand up so she can do her dive, her crossbody dive, plants her, 1, 2, 3, we got a new Raw Women's Champion, and that pretty much was the end of Raw for the night. Great. This was great. No problem with it whatsoever. I would believe that for those fans that have been so vocal about, man, look at what's going on here, man, Charlotte Flair, WTF, something that I have been talking about off and on over the years with a passion has been WWE, at least for their women's division, they got to do a better job of elevating their women. It's not really so much a men's problem that they have. It's really a big problem for the women's division, especially when you break it down into the tag division and all that. And we've talked about it repeatedly over these past 18 to maybe even 24 months about, okay, we've got this tier of women, but that tier of respected women that's up here, we're not making sure that what they're doing has a domino effect in a way where they're literally grabbing the other girls that's below that tier and helping them try to get to that level. Sure, not everybody's going to be a women's world heavyweight champion, but hey, we'll definitely try to at least get you to tag team champions, or just, you feel what I'm saying? That way, if something weird were to happen, like, okay, we've got no Ronda, we've got no Sasha, we've got no Bayley, we've got no Becky, we've got no Charlotte, that's okay, because we got all these other women that were elevated right before these girls had started to take their little break due to whatever respected reasons, injury, whatever was going on. So the fact that, the way WWE and Nikki Cross, again, we got to give a lot of props to Nikki Cross, because look at how she took this character. A lot of people were scratching their heads, bashing it and everything, but I told you guys early on, I said, nah, you know what? I'm behind this. I'm puzzled. I want to see where this goes. Remember, I told you guys that. I said, I want to see where this goes. Let's just stay with this. Let's just stay the course here. And this was something that she was very, very passionate about. And I tell you what, seeing the fans pop there for Nikki Ash, seeing just men, women, definitely the kids, all in just big celebration mode for Nikki Ash. Good stuff right there. So great way to send folks watching the Raw product, especially those that a little bit sour there on the Charlotte Flair as of late. Good way to pretty much wrap it up. And okay, so now things as far as the women's division, at least on the Raw side, you're going, all right, this is gonna, let's see what happens now. But couldn't happen to a better person. Seriously, this is somebody that's been busting their ass for many years now. Couldn't happen to a more cooler person personally. And I would just like to believe that in a world of good versus evil, she's not done with Charlotte Flair so fast. I would imagine that if we were to just kind of look into the crystal ball a little bit, and as far as going down the road on what could possibly happen next, I have a feeling that Charlotte Flair, Nikki Ash, is going to maybe be some type of a rematch there, potentially at SummerSlam. But then again, could Rhea Ripley have caused so much of a mental mind fuck there for Charlotte? Is it possible that Charlotte actually goes after Rhea Ripley? I kind of like the idea of Charlotte chasing after Nikki more than I do, but because think about it. Okay, so let's say hypothetically speaking, if Charlotte were to chase after Rhea Ripley, okay, then obviously that frees up Nikki. So then what do you do with Nikki at SummerSlam, right? You're looking at the Raw side of things and you're trying to figure out, okay, so who is that next? Do you maybe have Nikki Ash, Alexa Bliss? Do you maybe have Nikki Ash, Shayna Baszler, or Nia Jax, now that we've gotten to the point that we've gotten to right now, especially with the big development that went down there with Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax tonight? Hey, let's take a brief pause. Let's take a brief pause here. And if you guys want to call into the show, you want to talk about some of the things that happened on Raw tonight, or you want to talk about Slammiversary, or maybe you even want to talk about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, you can definitely call in. The number to call, you guys got to bear with me because I'm still trying to remember this phone number. It's going to take me a minute. I'm going to need like at least a month or two to try to remember this number because we don't put it in rotation that much. That's why. But let me load this up for you guys. Oh, what am I doing? I've actually got the graphic. Hold on a second. I've actually got the graphic. So let's see here. There we go. Here's the graphic right here. All right. So if you guys want to call into the show, you can do so right now. 202-769-1369. Again, 202-769-1364. And again, you want to call in, you want to talk about, any of those pay-per-views from the weekend, you could definitely call in, talk about the pay-per-views. Or you want to talk about some of the stuff that went down on Raw tonight, you could definitely do that as well. And let me just open this up here, because I got to open up an app just to make sure that it's ready to go. And then I actually want to put this down on silent. There we go. All right, so we're pretty much good to go. All right, so I'm looking at the phone. Anytime you guys want to go ahead and do that, go ahead. And then meantime, we'll go ahead and we'll keep rocking and rolling. So we were talking about Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Let's make that transition to them, because there was a big development that happened for those respective women. They were in action tonight. And, for those of us that have not been feeling what's been going on there with Reginald, we were quite pleased with what we got tonight because they pretty much kicked Reginald to the curb. And you're going, thank fucking God. This was a long fucking time coming. It's weird because Reginald, I was big on him early on, but as time progressed, there was just a lot of spots there where I'm going, dude, you're not selling worth a damn. You're just not selling, with tonight being the most recent as far as no selling. Nia Jax Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler in action against Natty and Tamina. By the way, shout out to Nia Jax. Nia Jax had some, oh my God, Nia Jax had some nice, sexy ass, blonde, curly, puffy hair that was going on. I was loving it. I mean, she looked extra cute tonight. No bullshit. She looked extra cute tonight. And I was telling some folks in the chat, I said, you know who she reminds me of tonight? Like, nah, who? I'm like, she reminds me of one of my favorite porn actresses from back in the day. And I think she actually still does porn, believe it or not. I actually believe she still does porn. Kira Rodriguez. That's exactly who she looked like. And if you guys know your porn, you've gone to some of those porn conventions and all that, y'all know exactly who I'm talking about, because for a good length of her career, her hair looked exactly like Nia Jax, but the way she would wear her hair, she would usually have her hair short and sometimes she would have it pinned up as well. But she looked a lot like Kira Rodriguez, man. Yeah, look up Kira Rodriguez. You guys see exactly what I'm talking about. Of course, if you're under the age of 21, or 18, go get your parents' permission and see if they can pull up a clean image for you guys. I don't need you guys getting in trouble pulling that up at school and then, well, I was listening to Lee on his show, and it's like, nah. I full disclosure, I take no responsibility for that. But Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler losing to Natty and Tamina, as once again we got the weird miscommunication bullshit that was going on involving Reginald. I'm trying to remember exactly the spot that had went down that caused the confusion there. It did not involve Alexa Bliss, though. That much I remember. For those of you that are a little bit curious, it did not involve Alexa Bliss. But Alexa Bliss did appear tonight. But post-match, Shayna Baszler pissed off. She's like every time. It's like every freaking time. Nia Jax, she's trying to be the peacemaker here yet again. As there's arguing that's continued to go on. Nia gets a hug from Reggie, and then Nia just headbutts the shit out of Reggie. And her and Shayna just pretty much take off. Now, here's the thing that was so Nia Jax does this headbutt to Reggie. Just pretend, you get the headbutt, okay? So he goes down on his ass, sells it for maybe 3 seconds if we were lucky. If we were lucky, maybe he sells it for 3 seconds. And you're just going, wow, way to fucking sell the goddamn headbutt, man. Like, fucking seriously. you know, and you got the fans in attendance. My God, how I missed the live crowds because they were bipolar as I don't know what. When they're seeing all this stuff going on with Reggie, they're actually saying to Reggie, Reggie sucks. Reggie sucks. You know, they're doing a little chants and all that. You're going, okay, so, all right. Nice to know that they agree with what we all have been seeing of Reggie, you know, pretty much from the start, really. Okay, great, great. Next thing you know, Akira Tozawa comes out with his Catch Lucky and his Lucky Charms 24 championship. Akira is like paying attention to Reggie. Like he's like, I don't know what the hell was up with that. But he turns around, looks at Reggie. Reggie's smiling. Next thing you know, Akira decides, okay, I think this guy might want some. They go at it. Reggie gets the best of him, does his nice little crossbody flippity-doo bullshit. 1, 2, 3, Reggie becomes the new 24/7 champion. So we're not done looking at tight pants Reggie just yet, folks. We got to continue to endure Reggie. And here was the funny part. So the crowd is booing Reggie. They're happy with the fact that he's getting kicked to the curb here by Shayna and Nia Jax. But yet, when they see he potentially has a shot at becoming the 24/7 champion, that same crowd cheers Reggie on, and they're celebrating for the man when he becomes a 24/7 champion. Bipolar crowd at its finest, folks. How I missed the live fans in attendance. Yeah, very, very just big, major yawn. Big, major yawn. You know, I hate to be a stickler for detail, but I could have just kicked back and just, it is what it is, moving along, not even give that whole sequence any more train of thought. But again, I got to be a stickler for detail. Okay, you get the headbutt. If you get that headbutt, I've done some headbutts or two. Who hasn't done a headbutt or two? Especially at a concert. One of those hard rock metal concerts, and you know, getting physical with folks. In a nice friendly way, but you're getting physical with folks. All right, you get a headbutt from somebody, you know, you should be holding on to your head. You should just be kind of shaking it. You should just continue to be rubbing it, all that good stuff. And if you're going to be seeing Akira Tozawa, you know, you should kind of be like, oh, wow. And then you should be looking at the crowd and you should, you know, try to egg them on, try to cheer you on here, you know, continue to rub your head there and then wham, do your little moves, all that little cool shit, right? And if you win, okay, great, you won, but keep fucking selling. Keep fucking selling that headbutt that you took. Because it's going to take you at least 10 to 15 minutes before your head starts feeling pretty damn good. Because you're disoriented like a motherfucker. It is what it is. Like how Raw kicked off. I know we're kind of going all over the place. But, hey, off the top of my head, that's how we're doing this, right? But hopefully, good flow for you guys so far. Keeping up with the energy, the crowd, all that good jazz. Cena opening up Monday Night Raw. Good shit. Primo, good shit. Big ass pop. Not as good as the pop that he got at the end of the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which a lot of people had sadly missed because that pay-per-view was so goddamn long. Once they see Roman win, yeah, well, I'm good. Turn off the TV or, you know, change the channel. You know, and by the time you hear about the whole Cena damn thing, you don't already either went to bed or you're doing something else and you're like, what the hell? Luckily, smart and kudos to WWE. WWE decided, nah, you know what? We need to make sure that we're sharing this all throughout social media. And I commend them tremendously for it. Because if you did clock out, they had you covered. Whether it was Twitter, the Facebook, the YouTube, they had you covered on John Cena. So, John Cena, great ovation from the crowd and everything. And by the way, you know, we got big news there from John Cena. At least the way things are looking right now, per John Cena. Something that we did not get to hear because Money in the Bank went off and everything. But he said pretty much after the cameras were done that he's not back for one night. Like he is back. So for those of you kind of wondering, yeah, what's going on? Why was he on Raw? Like that doesn't make, the way it's being dubbed, Cena is a free agent. So this is why he's able to bounce around on all the shows right now. So him being there really setting the tone. Like, look, when I think about Monday Night Raw, I have a lot of favorite memories that come to mind. Some of my favorite superstars come to mind. And John Cena is definitely one of those guys. Now, granted, it wasn't always the case. I was not, there was a point where as a Cena fan, I got to that point where I said, God damn, it seems like this dude is always fucking winning. He's like the new modern Hulk Hogan. What the fuck, man? Fuck is going on here? I myself had got to that point, but it never reached the toxicity level that some folks had for Cena. I could remember, and they're like no longer floating around anywhere now, but I could remember some podcasters that would do a whole 2-hour show just talking nothing but negative nilly on John Cena, and like every fucking, man, it was epic back in the day. I remember motherfuckers were just doing these vulgar texts of titles for their videos and all of that for John Cena. And man, they were just, on the one hand, it was smart marketing on their part because they knew they were going to trigger the Cena fans, because there was, as always, a big hardcore base out there of them and everything, a lot of them. So they knew they were going to trigger the fans from that standpoint, but at the same time, that was going to get them the retention, that was going to get them the engagement, that was going to get them the watch time. So that's why they did what they did. But man, it was just so bad back then. I'm pretty proud that over the 10 years that I've been on the air, I never went to those levels, and I never went after Cena the way that other people had went and everything. But for me, it's interesting because who didn't like Thugonomics Cena and all of that stuff? Who didn't like the first couple of years afterward? All of that was cool. Even after he retired Thugonomics, I was still a Cena fan. But when he just started steamrolling through motherfuckers, that's when it just kind of went, all right. But where I started to turn the corner, and I've said this a couple of times over the years, where I started to really turn the corner, you can even go back on my Twitter timeline and peep it out, was when he started doing the United States Open Challenge. When he started doing that. Because at that point, I felt that where Cena was in his career, he wanted to give it back. He wanted to pay it forward. And now he pretty much was, okay, who can I help elevate? Try to bring maybe to my level, if not exceed my level. Who can I grab and pull up there? Because it's got to be next man out. I'm not going to always be here forever. He knew that back then. And I like that. I like that tremendously. I did. So Cena pretty much was out there tonight putting over the fact that he crossed paths with Roman Reigns and setting up he wants Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Now notice, I'm just trying to think here. Yeah, I'm playing it back in my head. I don't remember Cena saying he wants that. No, he did actually. He did mention that Universal title. He did. So he wants Roman Reigns. He wants to face him for that Universal Championship. He doesn't like what Roman Reigns has become. As far as he's concerned, Roman Reigns is an asshole. He ain't feeling that. He wants to humble the hell out of Roman Reigns. And his message to Roman Reigns, hey, hope you hear what all I'm saying. Hope you hear these fire shots. Because this Friday on SmackDown, I'm going to be in your house. I'm going to be in your face where you can see me. So, nice setup right there. I like how we're using Cena right now. It's smart. You got to admit, it's smart. Smart marketing when you stop and think about it. Okay, we're going to use Cena and pretty much ping pong. Okay, good shit right there. Another thing that was pretty badass tonight, we're talking about returns and everything. How about the return of Keith Lee? We have not seen Keith Lee on WWE television since February of this year. A lot of people were going back to January, but he actually was on Raw television as of February 2021. His last match was against Riddle. Can't believe a lot of people have forgot about that, because that was a phenomenal matchup. And then post-match, Lashley beat the living shit out of both guys, but he put a lot of emphasis there to Keith Lee, and Lee pretty much was out all of that time. So going into Raw tonight, where Bobby Lashley is having this open challenge, you hear about this, you're going, okay, open challenge. Well, we're hearing the rumblings of Goldberg. And remember what I said last night? I said, man, everybody wants to talk about Goldberg Lashley. What did I say to you guys? I said, look, I said, have some water. Remember that? Have some water. Stay calm. Let's get through Monday Night Raw. Remember that? I said, let's get through Monday Night Raw first. Then we'll talk about it. So you hear this open challenge, you're going, And then one development that was creepy and like ended up building up this big old ball of steam as we were going into this open challenge. You start hearing these rumblings. Well, fuck, it's probably Braun Strowman. And you're going, well, why the fuck would it be Braun Strowman? That doesn't make any sense. But then, if you go on the WWE shop website, you find that there's not one, but two brand new Braun Strowman t-shirts. And you're going, wait a minute, this guy was released. Like, why are we putting out new shit for my man? Well, what's up with that? Quote Hurricane Shane Helms. What's up with that? Why we got new merchandise for this dude? It'd be one thing if, well, these were some designs that we were thinking about. And yeah, since this guy's now gone, we've got to make some type of money off of this shit. So we're going to not only sell it, we're going to sell it at a clearance discount. The shit wasn't even at clearance. Regular, like, WWE price for t-shirts. It's like $25, $26, $27. So you're going, well, this is weird. So you're going, okay, Braun? Is it Braun? Or maybe it's Karrion Kross. Maybe Karrion Kross is gonna, maybe he's the guy. And happy birthday to Karrion Kross, by the way. Today is his birthday. I know we had the segment there with Jinder Mahal. He's like, it's my birthday. Like, but hey, and look, today is your birthday. It's my birthday too. Not that one birthday is more significant than another person's birthday, but happy birthday to Karrion Kross. Seriously, that's a guy whose career I've been following. I pretty much started peeping his game out really at Impact, and then I pretty much had been following him since, and it's been awesome to see what he's been able to do with this character and everything. I'll get back to him in a little bit, because he did make his in-ring debut on Raw tonight, which triggered a lot of fans. Rightfully so, I understand. We'll talk about it in a hot minute. But you're going, okay, Braun Strowman, maybe Karrion Kross. No, we get Keith Lee. And then when you're really stopping to think about it, you're going, well, no, this makes a lot of sense, because the last time we saw Keith Lee, him and Lashley, yeah, okay, so there's some unfinished business right here. So you're going, okay, well, maybe we'll get some type of a fuck finish maybe, and yeah, maybe this could play out a couple of weeks on Raw programming. Maybe we might be able to take this to SummerSlam. Maybe, just maybe, we might be able to take this to SummerSlam. Hell of a match between Keith Lee and Lashley. A lot of people were pretty concerned about Keith Lee here, I must say, as his weight was brought up. A lot of people were going, man, did he get bigger? And some people were going, yeah, he picked up a little bit more muscle. Like, no. He picked up a little bit more fat. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, he didn't pick up no more muscle. What are you talking about? And I'm telling folks, I'm like, look, go check out his last appearance on WWE TV. Go back to Raw 2021, match against Riddle. Compare his build to where he's at right now. And when you do compare, I mean, there's no denying it. It's he looks like he picked up maybe an additional. I would really be shocked to hear he weighs the same. I'd really be shocked to hear that. But from my eyes, one big brother to another, he looked as though since February he picked up maybe about 15 to 20 pounds extra. 15 to 20 pounds extra. And, a lot of people were, kind of making jokes and all of that. Look, me personally, now that WWE is back live again in front of the fans, they're constantly going on tour now. They're going to be doing the house shows and everything. I would suspect that he's going to be able to lose that, get trimmed up a little bit. I mean, he's never been a skinny guy. I mean, he's always been a big dude. So, but I think now that he's back in rotation and everything, look, I'm not trying to defend the man or anything like that, but he was gone about maybe 6 months to a certain degree. Look, we don't know what was going on with him for those months that he was out. We don't know if there was some personal stuff that was going on in his family. I know his health has been brought up many times. Got to a point where his fiance, soon-to-be wife, Mia Yim, jumped out there and pretty much told people, respect us, respect our privacy, please mind your business. He wants you to know something. He'll let you know, basically. So, we just need to, we don't know what was going on with him, right? We just don't. Let's just deal with the positives, and that's the fact that Keith Lee is back on our TV. Although I got to tell you, great match against Lashley, but to see him lose in the fashion that he lost, my whole thing was, man, like, was WWE even aware of what had happened the last time Lee and Lashley were in the same ring together? You had an opportunity right there where you could build on something. Okay, it is what it is. Lashley's not able to celebrate that long, and then we hear the music of one Bill Goldberg. Bill Goldberg, we heard the rumblings. Bill Goldberg makes his triumphant return, confronts Lashley, says to Lashley, I'm next. Lashley was ready to tear his ass apart right there on the spot. MVP gets in there. No. We're not even wasting our time and energy on this. No. Cameras catch up to Lashley, MVP. Backstage interviewer trying to get some word in, and MVP, it's like, we're not even going to waste the time and energy on Bill Goldberg. I mean, come on, the disrespect that he showed to the WWE champion, just now, after he had that hard fought victory. No, we're not even wasting the dignity of addressing Bill Goldberg. Okay, you're done. So 54-year-old Bill Goldberg is back. A lot of fans triggered by this. Now that we've had that drink, we calmed down. We waited until Monday to see what happens. All right, I'm going to give it to you raw. No pun intended. All right, so let me go over the positives and let me go over the negatives. All right. Here's the positives. 1. Bill Goldberg, for 54 years of age, I'll give him this. He looks pretty damn good. Looks to be in great shape. Looks to be in better, leaner shape than the last couple of times that we've seen him. I don't think there's really no denying that. Okay. So I'll give him that. Number 2. Did you hear that pop for Bill Goldberg from the crowd? Did you hear that pop? Now, I know some of you guys don't like to hear this, but when you get a reaction like that, that somewhat justifies why a guy like Bill Goldberg keeps getting these opportunities. And ultimately, when it's all said and done, there's money to be made. Bill Goldberg prints money, like it or not. He prints money for everything that he represented of a long lost period in wrestling history. And what he has essentially been doing on this redemption road of you understand what I'm saying? I mean, it feels like what we're seeing of him in this second lease on life of a wrestling career. It feels as though he is really trying to create not just cool, awesome memories for his son, but he's also trying to create awesome, cool moments for all the kids. You know how passionate Bill Goldberg is about entertaining the kids and all that. He's always been that way, but he's even more passionate about it now because he's a family man, right? You know, he's pretty much done a 180 with his life and everything. So he's trying to give it back. He's trying to pay it forward. You can respect that. You can appreciate that, right? Okay. I got negatives to say. Don't worry, I'm getting to them. So, if you have your own wrestling promotion, right? You would be a fool to go, yeah, I'm not going to do anything with Bill Goldberg. Even if I got access to him and I can pay him what he wants and, you know, I can get him to come in and like, I'm no. Oh, he's old and I don't care anything for him and yeah, I'm good. You'd be a fool to not do it. It'd be one thing if, well, man, not for nothing, but all this money we've paid him, and when it comes to our, you know, return, we're getting very little to nothing back. So in the case of, you know, cheaper to keeper, no, we can go ahead and part ways. We're done here. We're good. This is how we're at the point that we're at right now with Bill Goldberg. Now let's talk about the negatives. Look, I hear you guys. Those of you that were triggered by this, I get it. Sincerely, I get it. You don't need to explain it to me. I get it. Some of you are looking at this and you're going, nah, man. For the men and women that have been busting their asses all throughout this fucking pandemic, particularly just been with WWE through and through, you know, this was just, these past 15 months was great opportunity for WWE to build up guys. Why are we going backwards here? Why are we putting a guy like Bill Goldberg in this fucking position? What the fuck is going on here? Now look, you're going to be angry. You're going to be triggered about Goldberg coming back. There's nothing wrong with that. I only have one piece of advice. Point that compass in the right direction, because ultimately Bill Goldberg's not the person that's at fault. The person that you need to be blaming for this are the people that inked out the contract arrangement with Bill Goldberg. They're the ones that you need to come after and say, what the fuck? Because they are the ones that pretty much, oh, okay, Bill, so, you know, we want you to come back. We want you to come back. We want you to do some stuff for us. I mean, think about it. He's only doing a couple of matches a year. And this contract, if I remember it right, I think it's going to be up in 2023, maybe 2024. And then that's pretty much it. He's only doing like 2-3 matches a year, basically. So I ask you, you have Bill Goldberg on your payroll. You're giving him all that money. Okay, you've built up said wrestlers that you're trying to build up with your wrestling promotion, but you've got Bill Goldberg sitting on his ass with that money that he basically collected from you. Are you telling me that despite the fact that you've built up the new guys that you've built up, are you actually trying to tell me, be honest with yourselves, you actually trying to tell me that you're not going to use Bill Goldberg? You've already given him the money. You might as well tap into him, right? It makes a lot of sense, right? There's no way you're going to just let him sit at home on your dime. No, we're good. We know we gave you, I'll just put a bullshit number out there. We know we gave you $15 million for 5 years. You know, so that's essentially what? You know, he's getting like $5 million a year basically to only do 2 matches. We know we gave you that deal. But man, we've got a really good thing going on over here with our roster right now. And yeah, brother, we're good. Keep the money. We're good. No, that's not how business is done. That's not how business is done. I don't like this any more than you guys do, because what I originally wanted, I think what a lot of people wanted, Lesnar, Lashley. That has been, especially for us MMA fans, us fighting fans, that has been our dream match for the longest time. That's what we've been wanting to see for the longest time. So, you know, this feels like, you know what this feels like? I have the perfect analogy for you guys. You know what this feels like? This feels like you go on Instacart, you're putting your grocery list together and you're like, oh man, I want to try that new Colin Kaepernick ice cream. Oh man, it's got graham crackers. It's got this, it's got, peanut butter. Oh man, it's got all this good shit in it. But it's so hard to find. It's like a magical fucking unicorn. I can't find it worth a damn. But you know what? I'm going to put that on the list because I want that. Apparently my store around the corner sells that. So I'm going to put that on the list. And then your Instacart guy or woman that's preparing your order, they're shopping for you. You know, they hit you up and they're like, hey, yo, can't find the Colin Kaepernick ice cream, but we've got the Cherry Garcia. So I look at the Brock Lesnar as the Colin Kaepernick ice cream. That's what I really wanted. But instead, I got the Cherry Garcia, which is Bill Goldberg. Now, the only thing that I can say to you guys as a fan, seeing how this played out, look. Enjoy it for what it's worth. As a wrestling fan, just enjoy it for what it's worth. It may not be the matchup you want, but take comfort in knowing this. Number one, Goldberg and Lashley are not going to go out there and do a damn Broadway play. They're not going to be out there for no 15, 20 freaking minutes. Nah, that ain't happening. You'll be lucky if you can get a 10-minute match total. You'll be lucky if you can get 10 minutes. We see Bill Goldberg coming out there. He already blew the fuck up and he didn't even do anything. He didn't even do anything physical. Just coming out there, getting in the ring, and he was already blown up. Just think about that for a second, okay? And we're not getting a Broadway. So take comfort in that. The second point I want you guys to take comfort in knowing, especially if you are a big Bobby Lashley fan, take comfort in the fact that, you know what, man, everything that's been happening with my man Bobby Lashley so far, man, WWE is finally seeing what I've been seeing in this guy for so many years. They finally got behind this guy. Bobby Lashley finally put all of this shit together, and look where he's at right now, man. This is fucking badass. Y'all should be happy for Bobby Lashley right now. Y'all should be looking at this and going, man, Bobby Lashley, he's going to be in one of the main events at SummerSlam, and he's going to be taking on a WWE Hall of Famer. Think about that for a second. He's going to be taking on a WWE Hall of Famer. First time in his illustrious career thus far as a World Heavyweight Champion in Bill Goldberg. He's going to be taking on a guy that was greatly responsible for what went down with WCW kicking WWE's ass during the Monday Night Wars. Take comfort in that. Take comfort in knowing that, nah, you know what? This is an automatic win for Lashley. Yeah, Goldberg may be getting a whiff of this fucking championship, and yeah, it's all about SummerSlam. It's all about putting asses in seats. It's all about the ticket prices, the merchandise, selling the pay-per-views, selling those subscriptions to Peacock. But when it's all said and done, and we go into the Raw after SummerSlam, Lashley's going to continue to be there. Bill Goldberg, most likely not. Lashley's going to still be champion. Man, so Lashley's most likely going to be riding in the next year's WrestleMania still as the fucking WWE champion. That's how you guys need to be looking at it right now. These are nothing more than stepping stones for some of your favorite wrestlers. You know, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But that's how you got to look at it, okay? We're looking at Brock Lesnar. Look, for all intents and purposes, WWE might have tried. Let's give them an out. They might have tried. But Lesnar might have been like, nah, man, I'm chilling. Like, nah, I'm good. When we do something towards WrestleMania, maybe WrestleMania season, let's maybe start to do something around that time. I'd be down for that, right? For all we know, maybe Lesnar's people or Lesnar himself said, nah, let's just go in this direction instead, right? They might have tried and Lesnar just said, nah, not right now, guys. Not right now. Okay? But you see the end game. It's almost like you're playing a video game and you're like, okay, I know the boss at the end is going to be, but man, it'd be so cool to fight the boss right now. It's like, nah, sometimes that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So just all of those points that I just made, hopefully you can just take that and you can just run with that and it makes you feel better. Because I can't stress it enough. If you really mean well as a Bobby Lashley fan, then you're going to be celebrating this and just going, man, you know, this is fucking big. Because stop and think about it for a second. Stop and think about it for a second. Sure, Bobby Lashley, Bobby Lashley did his thing at WrestleMania. You know, and look, nobody will ever take that away from Bobby Lashley. Nobody will ever take what went down at WrestleMania with Lashley. Nobody will ever take that away from him. But at the same time, that wasn't in front of fans, right? That wasn't in front of fans. When Lashley had finally became the WWE champion, he didn't do it in front of fans. Okay? So, but it was still really cool kick-ass moments, right? Right? So, as a fan, you just, man, look at how far this guy has come along and look at where he's about to go next month going into SummerSlam. You got to celebrate that. There's no way, mark my words, and I get the frustration. I do. But look at it from those standpoints. There's no way. Calm down. There's no way Goldberg is walking out of SummerSlam taking that title off of Lashley. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. There are a lot of things, very seldom do I say to you guys, I guarantee it. But I am that confident in my convictions. I am that confident just looking at the pacing of the storytelling and everything. I'm telling you guys right now, there's no way come SummerSlam, Bill Goldberg walks out with that championship. Lashley is going to continue on, just like there's no way Cena is going to take away that title from Roman Reigns. No. There's no way that's going to happen as well. So just take that for what it's worth. All right. Hey, you guys been enjoying the show so far. Do me a huge favor, especially since it's free. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button. You do that, pushes out our content out there to the YouTube algorithm team. Helps them out as far as channel recommendations. You feel free to subscribe too and all that so you don't miss out on all the great content. Showing you guys some love in the chat here. Yeah, I agree with Rui. Rui is saying Lesnar versus Reigns seems likely at WrestleMania. I'm just not sure about that. I would like to see that, but then again, I kind of don't, and I'll tell you the reason why. Like, we've already seen that. Like, no, we need to go in a different direction, and for me, it kind of feels as though the direction we may still be going, Big E right now is the wild card. It could be Big E, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, or it could be Big E, Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. So it's a very, if you were to just ask me to look into the crystal ball right now, just kind of fast forward in a little bit, for me, it really feels as though the trajectory, it feels to me Lesnar, Lashley. It feels like that's ultimately where we're going to go. I could be wrong on that, but it feels like that's ultimately where we're going to be going. I still kind of feel that as far as WrestleMania, Reigns, Big E. And I have been saying since last year that, you know what, if there was ever a guy to ultimately take the title off of Roman Reigns, the first name I put out there was Big E. I said, build it up right. That's your guy. So it's going to be interesting to see these next, really this next month and a half as we get into SummerSlam season and everything. It's going to be interesting to see. But then post SummerSlam, that's where, okay, so what are we really doing here? How are we setting this up here? Let's see. Terrell's talking about, let's see what we got here. Terrell says she should go to SmackDown to be, Becky Lynch. Okay. I thought you were talking about Naomi. Yeah, because apparently, following up from what I had talked about on last night's Money in the Bank post show, y'all, apparently Naomi has quietly, take it for what it's worth, because the report is coming from PW Insider, but apparently Naomi has been quietly moved back to SmackDown. And what did we talk about on that Money in the Bank post show, if you guys recall? We talked about how I had a great layout, too, for how you could ultimately do Naomi taking on Bianca Belair. And then you could also do Naomi and Jimmy teaming up to take on Bianca and Montez Ford. Go back and check out the Money in the Bank post show when you guys get a chance, and you'll hear it out. Not to I don't want to bore the people that already had heard it the first run, but go back after this show and check it out. Good shit. I promise you guys, good shit. But Terrell Watt is saying that Becky Lynch should go to SmackDown to be with her husband, Rollins, for the road. SmackDown, see, here's the really weird thing right now. As far as to SmackDown as it currently stands. Okay, so now you got Naomi. And usually PW Insider, they're pretty on point. They're pretty accurate with their reporting. I'll give them props for that. So you're gonna have Naomi over there right now, okay? You've got Liv Morgan, who's coming along. So you got to give her props for that. Liv Morgan's coming along. You've got Carmella that at any time, the trigger could be pulled on her to help carry the women's division for a hot minute there. And that's a great, okay, who are we going to have chase after Carmella in that title? If you need to break that glass and you need to go there with Carmella, you could definitely go there. You got Bianca Belair. You've got Sasha Banks, and it kind of feels as though, especially given what went down there with the ESPYs, I mean, if you kind of want to maybe do something, I don't know if you guys are aware, but, WWE, they were being represented at the ESPYs, and Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair were there. They posed together for these nice little photos and all that, and it's got so many people just chomping at the bits over those photos. Like, some people feel, round 2, let's go. So, obviously you can kind of, maybe do something there. But the point is, you still got Sasha Banks in play on SmackDown. Toni Storm is getting ready to make her SmackDown debut this Friday. You've got Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Nox that's now part of the SmackDown roster. Okay. Bayley, Bayley is out for a hot little bit. It's unfortunate. So you could put Becky on SmackDown, but she's not really needed on SmackDown. She's more so needed on Raw when you really take a step back and you think about it. She's really needed on Raw because other than Charlotte, I mean, just really kind of stop and think about it. As far as your ultimate 1-2 punch. See, at least over on SmackDown, your 1-2 punch was Sasha Bayley. And in that process, successfully, Bianca Belair was built up. Although some of what's been happening with her, particularly the feud that she had going on there with Bayley, was kind of rough. But, you've got her doing her thing. They were kind of able to build her up and all right? But over on the Raw side of things, other than Charlotte Flair, what's been your definitive 1-2 punch? Sure, Asuka was the MVP during the pandemic. No doubt about that. No fucking doubt about that whatsoever. But as you see how things have been playing out now with Asuka, it really feels as though that was such a distant memory, and she was just a transcendent champion. Just a temporary placeholder there, and it's kind of unfortunate. It's a diss to her personally, because I think, I think she's mega cool, kick ass. But I'm telling you, if that English shit was down, come on, WWE. If that English shit was down, I don't know, y'all. Asuka might have still been champion up to this point until all the shit that had went down just now. But right now on the Raw side of things, your definitive 1-2 punch, you got Charlotte Flair, but you kind of got Rhea Ripley, but you've been fumbling with her a little bit. Raw really needs Becky. They really do. Your Shayna Baszler, your Nia Jax. Just when I thought maybe Shayna, because I've been wanting it for months, I've been wanting for Shayna to just fuck this. I'm going back solo. I'm going to be the killer beast that I used to be down in NXT. I'm going to bring that bitch back here on Raw. Just when you think maybe that was going to happen, we don't even get that. Look, we got that Raw draft. There's rumblings it's supposed to be happening, I think either September or October. So that should be interesting to see how things get shaken up. The only way I could see Becky Lynch going over to SmackDown, assuming Seth Rollins stays over there, the only way I could see Becky Lynch going, I think I said Sasha Banks, I apologize. The only way I see Becky Lynch going over to SmackDown to be with Rollins, you got to do a trade-off. If Becky goes to SmackDown, then you either got to cough up Sasha or you got to cough up Bayley to Raw. That's the only way you're going to be able to really make that truly balance out, because you can't have things be so one-sided. You feel where I'm coming from? I'm just trying to think if there was anything else with regards to Raw tonight. So we talked about that. Oh, Karrion Kross. Here is a guy that had a lot of people triggered tonight. First of all, lukewarm reactions to Karrion Kross. I'm pretty concerned about that. As big of a Karrion Kross fan that I am, I'm very concerned about that. Because that Texas crowd, and that Texas crowd is a smart old school wrestling crowd. They're pretty smart. So if something's not clicking with them, remember what I told you guys on the Money in the Bank post show. If you want to know what's going on with some of these current stars that you pretty much got in the oven, and you want to know what everybody thinks about them so far, go to certain markets and the fingers on the pulse of what could possibly be happening throughout, all the other cities that you go to and everything. But I said Texas is definitely one of those wrestling heartbeats. And the fact that Kross got such a lukewarm reaction, very, very concerning. I personally feel that says to me that there's a lot more work that needs to be done with Karrion Kross from, and that's the thing. Me personally, if you were to ask me, well, Lee, what's going on? What do you think is the problem? I think what was originally one of the problems for a period of time there, we had Karrion Kross. Okay, he's doing these heel-like things, but he's also doing these face things. Like what's going on here, right? So that was a little bit confusing at first, but now that definitively, okay, no, he's a bad guy. Okay, that's fine that he's the bad guy, but the fact that we didn't even... The crowd tonight felt very indifferent to Karrion Kross. And the fact that Jeff Hardy was able to come out there and get the pop that he was able to get, and he's been inconsistent in TV appearances for WWE, that was just a telling tale in itself tonight as far as I was concerned. So, with Karrion Kross, I'm very concerned. I really, really am. And I'll come back to that point in a hot minute. But the match between Jeff Hardy, pretty good. The finish, look, I get I get where people are coming from. For me, very questionable, the finish. Only because during this match, we never saw Karrion Kross do some type of shady shenanigans where he's trying to distract the ref. He's trying to do some dirty heel-like tactics, poke to the eye, low blow to the groin, some bullshit like that. And then not for nothing, when Karrion Kross came out, he didn't have Scarlett with him. For me, I would go with the Karrion Kross needs Scarlett, but no, I think it's the other way around. You could maybe make the argument, no, Scarlett needs Kross. And then if you really, no, they kind of need each other because they complement each other so well. If you ask me personally, one of my all-time favorite movies, Natural Born Killers. It is like Bonnie and Clyde on fucking steroids, as far as I'm concerned. Natural Born Killers. And I see so much of that, Bonnie and Clyde, Thelma and Louise, Joker, Harley Quinn. I see all of those elements when I look at Karrion Kross and Scarlett. They are a package. They're almost, what I'm saying? So it's kind of weird, and it was weird tonight to see Kross out there by himself. It really, really was. He seemed naked, and that's despite the fact that he was an NXT champion. He seemed so naked. I think from a showman standpoint, you need Scarlett Bordeaux. From a presentation standpoint, no. You need that black and white screen. You need that nice little filter that's going on. You need Scarlett Bordeaux coming out there doing the sexy dancing all around Karrion and playing up to the crowd and saying the end is here. You need her doing all of that, getting the crowd into it, making them feel like they're part of it. Anytime you're watching NXT, you see how the fans, they're all into this. They are all into this. You need those elements. You need those. You can't just have Kross come out there like we saw tonight and he's just, he's doing his best. I mean, I thought he did pretty good tonight, but it's like, why are we stripping away everything that's working for the brother? Why are we stripping them away? It's almost like we're handicapping him. Like, no, let's not handicap him. Everything that's working good so far, no, let's keep it intact and let's go there. So no heel-like tendencies was happening from Kross's side during this match. And yet the finish sees Jeff Hardy pin Karrion Kross. Referee is counting. Jeff Hardy puts his feet up on the ropes. Ref doesn't catch it. And Jeff Hardy gets the 3 count that way. So Jeff Hardy cheats to pick up the dub. And you're going, wait a minute, since Jeff Hardy, Jeff Hardy's been a babyface and he's been just doing all kinds of, cool shit. Like, we've never seen him, go this route with an opponent, especially somebody he's facing that's relatively new for the very first time. So the logic behind the booking of that match was just very head scratching. Now, if you want to say a lot of people were triggered as a result of what they saw with Karrion Kross, yeah, a lot of people were triggered. But you know what? Let's really make sure we pump the brakes and we show those fans the proper respect that they need to be given, because these are fans that have been following Karrion Kross's career passionately down in NXT. These are fans that have been passionately following his career before WWE. And they have seen so many times over the years, in their defense, some of their favorites from NXT, with the exception of a couple, and I do mean a couple, come on up to the main shows, and they end up being a drizzling pile of what the fuck. You were hot over here, but man, when we put you over here, you're cold. And that's what's going on as far as the concern of Karrion Kross. Now, if you were to ask me straight up, what I hope that we all learn as fans going forward into this week, number one, I want to know who was responsible for the booking of Karrion Kross and everything that went down with Jeff Hardy tonight. I want to know who oversaw this. Did Triple H and the NXT writers, did they give the green light? Because if not, what I would like to see happen going forward, rather than a Vince McMahon goes down to the Performance Center, which has since been confirmed by Sonya Deville, by Raquel Gonzalez, recent interview she gave, I want to see things happen in a way where, again, I got to go with a Marvel reference. Not long-winded, but you'll get the point. You see the great relationship that Marvel Studios has with Sony Pictures over Spider-Man, and how they're basically able to get Spider-Man loaned out to them, and they do what they need to do to build around Spider-Man and essentially setting up what they're trying to set up with their respective movies, but also at the same time put Spider-Man in a good position for Sony Pictures so that when it comes time for Spidey to do his thing in his respective universe and everything complements the hell out of each other. What I need going forward, assuming it's not already intact, because it sure as hell don't feel like it, is there's got to be a clear understanding that, okay, in the case of Karrion Kross, okay, you know what? All right, that's Triple H's boy. That's Triple H's boy, so you know what? Let's make sure anything that we're thinking about doing with Triple H's boy, we get his approval. Let's get one of the head writers for NXT. There needs to be more. To me, it just feels like there's a lack of communication between the two. I don't know if it feels that way to you guys, but that's the point where we got to get to. All right, so what have you guys been doing over here with Karrion so far? Okay, great. Yeah, okay, yeah, we want to have him come in and do a Raw debut and everything. We want to, test him out on the crowd and everything, and maybe have him do some stuff over the course of the next couple of weeks and all that. But yeah, so what you got going on over here? Okay, and you got to somehow take all of those elements that's been working for the brother and make sure that it translates well on the main roster. So far, it's off to a rocky start. Now, even though this was a loss that Karrion has suffered tonight, this is all part of a bigger picture. Can I honestly take a step back and look at this and say, okay, well, Karrion Kross wins. Is that really going to have people talking? Is that really going to, you feel where I'm coming from? Or would it make more sense to have people talking if somehow Jeff Hardy was able to pull an upset? And WWE decided to go with the latter. Now, I'm most curious to see, as far as storyline continuity goes, I'm interested in seeing how this is going to be addressed, if at all, on NXT in less than 24 hours. So definitely kind of have that going in the back of your mind. But people, this is only Act 1. I trust me, I feel the frustrations and all that. Questionable booking without a shadow of doubt. I'm not going to go as far as to say what happened tonight, Kross was buried. I think we all could be in agreement. Questioning booking, considering, it'd be one thing if Kross was doing heel-like tendencies, distracting the ref, dirty poke to the eyes, low blow, raking Jeff Hardy's back. He tries to skin the cat a little bit, or he grabs a nice fistful of trunks, and right? But we didn't get any of that. So I think that's where we're kind of scratching our heads going, what the fuck did we watch tonight? Exactly there. By the way, Cena and Riddle, that was interesting, wasn't it? Kind of cringing yet cool at the same time. I think we can leave it right there. See, other than that, I'm just thinking what else had happened on Raw tonight. Symphony of Destruction match, Jason Riker taking on Elias. Riker picking up the dub. Fucking fantastic match. I love that. That was actually my highlight of the night. As far as I was concerned, these guys went out there. They had some pretty cool moments, some nice kick-ass spots. They helped elevate each other, as far as I was concerned. The sad part about this, though, because the way WWE has been trying to tell this story over the course of the past couple of weeks between Jason Riker and Elias, it's been good. It's been decent. But the fans, they just aren't really invested in this. They don't really care about this whatsoever. And you know what was a real telling tale? You still got the WWE fans giving reactions to Elias, right down to the point, walk with Elias. He's still able to get them to be part of that whole thing, and he's playing his little acoustic set and all that. Riker, as menacing, sinister, screw loose. I mean, he's got a cool, kick-ass, unique look to him. I mean, you just look into his eyes, and he just looks like he's gonna snap. I love that about him. He looks like he's gonna snap. He looks like he's gonna snap. Dexter Lumis looks deranged. You know, just think about that for a second. But the crowd reactions to Jason Riker tonight was just, it was very telling. Kind of confirmed my fears that I don't really think this Riker thing is going over that well. And then despite the fact that he's got a phenomenal look, I think it's about time we kind of pull these guys apart from each other and have them move on to some other stuff. Like, seriously, we need to have these guys move on. You know, if you were to ask me where maybe we could go with Jason Riker, what about Riker and Ricochet as a tag team, and they ultimately become the new Raw Tag Champions? You know, maybe have them get into a feud there with Omos and AJ Styles. Why not maybe go in that direction possibly? Just kind of something to think about. Speaking of tag team, there was tag team action. Matt Riddle was in action as he teamed up with the Viking Raiders. They defeated the team of John Morrison, AJ Styles, Omos. Fun matchup. AJ continuing to be the real entertaining show stealer. You know, anything that he's involved in, you know, he's just making it look so damn good. See what else. I think that might be it. I think we pretty much, Sheamus was in action. United States Championship wasn't on the line. Match against Alberto Carrillo. Pretty much just, you know, floored his ass basically. Is what it is. See, I don't think we're missing anything else. If there's something else noteworthy you want me to bring up on Raw tonight, nothing else is really coming to mind. So you guys will have to sound off about that. Alexa Bliss reintroduced Lily. She appeared in a little Titantron prepackaged thing. And as she was setting it up, talking about Lily, trying to put Lily over, Eva Marie, Doudrop, you know, they crashed the scene. Pretty much we're talking trash. You know, pretty, you know, yeah, that was what it was right there. I think that's it. I think that was honestly, and I don't have really too much more to say about the whole Alexa Bliss thing. You know, what I'm more concerned about right now is just, okay, you know, you can't continue to do your little hocus pocus bullshit like you were doing in the Thunderdome with Alexa Bliss. So how are you really gonna make things interesting from this whole supernatural charm standpoint, where it doesn't look extremely comical and it doesn't come off boring? You know, what they did tonight with the whole prepackaged stuff that they pretty much were showing on the Titantron for fans, we were able to see at home. Like, okay, great. You know, we're moving along here with whatever's going on between Bliss. You know, ultimately, it kind of feels as though, it just feels to me, Bliss is ultimately going to be able to render the services of Doudrop. I don't know if you guys are sensing that, but it almost feels like you can smell it a mile away that eventually that's where we're going to be going. I have to wait and see how that pans out. But, pretty decent Raw, all said and done. Pretty decent Raw. Great to have the fans back. You know, they definitely were bringing that energy all throughout the night, without a shadow of doubt. So, you know, made the show much more enjoyable. I gotta say, one of the, even though some things were head scratching, you know, kind of questionable, and just, you know, you're feeling yourself getting triggered. One of the more, from a fan perspective, one of the more invested, engaging episodes of Raw you were able to get into compared to all of those other months that was going on during the Thunderdome pandemic era. Honest truth. So, hey, if you guys want to call in, you can definitely call in. Call the number that's on your screen. For those of you that are visually impaired, you want to call into the show. 202-769-1364. You want to call, you want to maybe talk about the Slammiversary pay-per-view, or you want to talk more about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, you can definitely sound off on that. You can also sound off any wrestling little news tidbits you want me to react to. You can definitely do that as well. Meanwhile, I think we got the results here for AEW Dark. Let me just see. And I got my phone handy, so if you guys want to call in, just go ahead and I'll stop and you guys can just how'd I do that? I got the notes here for AEW Dark, and that episode is available right now. Listen to this matchup. Gun Club, Billy and Colton Gunn taking on Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson. Jungle Boy faces Angelico. Dante Martin versus Sean Dean. Luchasaurus went toe-to-toe with Fuego del Sol. Shida faced Dulce Tormenta. Lance Archer faced Zakara. Red Velvet faced Julia Hart. Frankie Kazarian faced Baron Black. Chaos Project took on Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. Tay Conte and Serena Deeb teamed up to face the team of Jasmine Allure and Vervixen. Eddie Kingston and Pentel Zero went up against Cesar Bonani and JD Drake. Powerhouse Hobbs faced Lucas Chase. That was all the action that went down on AEW Dark Elevation this week. I'm actually going to try to catch up on that tomorrow night when I get in from work and get ready for Wednesday's show for you guys on that one. By the way, if you guys did not watch it yet, do check out the Broken Skull Sessions newest episode with Kevin Nash. That actually was pretty good. Ran about an hour, 22 minutes. I did not learn anything new from watching it. So for those of you that's a little bit curious and you maybe want to know, now, if you have paid attention to a lot of the shoot interviews that Kevin Nash has done over the years, because I know he was pretty big on always doing stuff with Sean Oliver for kayfabe commentaries. You really, and just hearing him over the years on, giving out different interviews and all, there really wasn't anything new that you took away from this. But if you just wanted to kick back and just watch two guys shoot the shit, cursing like sailors, getting their drink, it was pretty hilarious just watching Kevin Nash throughout this whole episode. He's drinking red wine. You've got Steve Austin who's just drinking his beer. Tell the story that time. We were driving about 3 in the morning. Remember? 3 in the morning, 1974, Red Camaro on the highway there. There you go. I-95. All right. Going there, back roads there. Remember? We had the music playing. All right. You take it from there. And, he's just drinking his beer and he's just throwing it over his shoulders and shit. Good shit. Good shit. But no, I really didn't learn anything new from this one. I didn't. So, if you are somewhat like me, you make your rounds, checking out, shoot interviews, stuff like that, and you're just nothing new. If you're a newer fan, you're not so much into the shoots, you haven't really been paying attention to the interviews that Kevin Nash put out there and everything, then, check it out. I will say this though. Hopefully you guys find this insightful. Kevin Nash used to receive such a bad rep for many, many years there. And, now that he's at the point of his career, post-career really, in ring-wise, where, okay, look, no, I can be an open book. I can tell you exactly how it is because I give two fucks not. I don't care what anybody else says because, I've made my money and then some. It was nice hearing a Kevin Nash that is not only so reflective, but is just doing his best to be as transparent as possible, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, even if it comes at the expense of, oh yeah, no doubt, Hulk Hogan was wrong for doing, oh yeah, no doubt, the way that, and that really comes off pretty well, I think, in this interview with Steve Austin. It really, really does. And, look, he's 62 years old. He's about 6'11". He realizes that, because Steve asked him towards the end of the interview, so what's next for you? What are you working on now? And he talked about how he's getting ready to do some movie, but he knows that because he's tried for the longest time to get into the whole Hollywood thing. But when you are a guy of his height, it's hard to get that two-person camera shot and all that, because he's a pretty tall dude. So a lot of the stuff involving him, he's definitely got to be kind of grounded a little bit. He's got to be sitting down, and you always got to kind of be thinking from that type of standpoint and everything. But one thing, and I hope it does happen for him, he talked about how a character that's been kind of near and dear to his heart, and now he's hearing how Rob Zombie is going to try to tackle it and everything, the monsters. And he feels that he would do a pretty damn good job as Herman Monster. And legit, I could see him doing that. I could totally see him doing that. So I hope that, look, not for nothing, but some of the stuff that I've seen of Kevin Nash in some of the movies from over the years, pretty good. He's picked out some pretty good, memorable roles that has honestly held up pretty good over the years. You get to a point like, whether it's Super Shredder or, you name it, you just go, nah, you know what? He actually was pretty good in that. Who would have thought, right? So I still remember when he was the bad guy in, what was it, the Thomas Jane Punisher movie? He was pretty damn good. So, hopefully for him, I'd like to see him in a few more things. I really, really would. But he comes off such as a likable character, likable person rather, a likable person in this interview. And I don't know if you guys make it your business to follow Kevin Nash on social media, but if you want some pretty awesome, insightful shit to check out, this is a man that does not give a fuck. He calls it how he sees it. You guys that are out there, particularly, you are activists, political activists. You care about what's going on in this country, especially in regards to social injustice, voting rights for everybody. Hey, better human wages for everybody. Kevin Nash doesn't give a fuck who he alienates. He puts his 2 cents out there, and he is a woke brother, straight up. He is a woke brother, and I sincerely mean that. He always gives you shit to smoke your mind to, and you're like, and I tell you, all this shit that was going on, not to get too political, but all this shit that was going on, particularly there with old Donnie Boy in office. Oh man, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that was always having a field day, lighting his ass up. Kevin Nash was one of those guys. He did not give two fucks not who he alienated. He did not give a fuck. I remember there was one day where he was like, I think I lost about 1,000 followers or 5,000 followers because I said da da da. And it's like, oh well, move it along. Oh well. So yeah, check it out. Check it out. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, check it out. Especially if you're a newer fan. They do talk about, his whole career, Oz, all of that. Just it's the usual greatest hit stuff. Even talks about, the controversial house shows. That still bothers him. It's amazing. 62 years old. He's made all his money, all the success that he's had. 2-time WWE Hall of Famer. And it still burns him up that fans misconstrue that time period there where he was the WWF champion, as they talked about, some experts, Kevin Nash was the worst WWE champion in history. Look at the pay-per-view buy rates. Look at this, look at that. And it's all laid out, yet again in another interview, but this time for the WWE network. Kevin Nash trying to do his best to set the record straight and be like, no, this is how it was. You know, going into the curtain call, you know, look at what we were doing, you know, here. Check it out. Check it out. You'll definitely thank me later. All right, so programming notes. We're going to be doing a new RCWR show this Tuesday night. It's going to be late, though. You know, I normally like to talk NWA Power with you guys, but I'm going to be working. So by the time I get off from work, I literally, because the wifey will be picking me up, I'm literally going to be watching NWA on my phone. And the goal is to be here live with you guys after NXT goes off the air. So we'll talk all things NWA Power after NXT goes off the air. So that will be just a little bit after 10 p.m. Eastern. And then Wednesday, we'll have a new show for you guys. We'll cover NXT Fallout. We'll also cover AEW Fallout. I'll go over more my thoughts about AEW Dark, Elevation, and AEW Dark. We'll also talk Ring of Honor as well. So we'll go a little bit all over the place. We'll even get into some non-wrestling little tidbits as well. Shout out to our Patreon members, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio video content. Won't be able to find anywhere else. Also, shout out to our sponsors. Hey, once again, shout out to AUTOPURCHASERS.com. If you've been thinking about selling that vehicle, doesn't matter if it's new, used, if it's working, not working, maybe you just got that bad boy stationary in front of your house. Like, it don't matter. They will buy your vehicle. Long as it's paid off or it's about to be paid off, they will work with you. Check them out, AUTOPURCHASERS.com. Selling your vehicle has never been this easy. Check them out when you get a chance. So other than those programming notes, I'm going to say that's it. We can stick a fork in it. Call this show DONE done. Yeah, so you know when your next edition is going to be going down. It feels like, hang on, one thing. Let's go to those polls real quick. I knew I was forgetting something. Let's see what you guys had to say one last time in regards to Slammiversary and Money in the Bank. And this, you could vote. I mean, but pretty much we're done with the voting from here. YouTube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab. So we asked you over the weekend, what did you think about WWE Money in the Bank? Staying strong. Appreciate everybody that have voted for this one. 13% of you are giving it a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 87% of you giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. You know, overall, you know, in retrospect, now that I've been able to sleep over it, going to the next day, I agree. I agree with that. I still stand at a 7 out of 10 for the pay-per-view. I mean, for me, we gotta trim the fat. We gotta work on the length of some of the matches, and we also gotta work on, you know, just making sure that as far as the overall pay-per-view, you know, there's no reason why if you're starting at 8 o'clock, there's no reason why, you know, we should be almost creeping up to a quarter to midnight. No. Especially when it's not even SummerSlam. It's like, if you're going to go this long with just Money in the Bank, what the fuck are you going to be doing with SummerSlam? Like, that could be a 10-hour event, you dig? All right, Slammiversary. This was interesting because we ended up getting a tie that I saw multiple times from the weekend. And I thought for sure it was going to break by now, but, you know, that's it. We're calling it as it is right now. We gave you multiple options here. We gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. 5% of you said that you did not watch the pay-per-view, but you found that my pay-per-view recap covering Slammiversary makes you want to watch it. Okay, appreciate that. And that 5% was also tied with another 5%. So we got like 2 ties that's in here. 2 ties. The other 5% of you said for the tie here, hated the pay-per-view only because Kenny Omega retained. Oof. And then our second tie, 35% of you said, I totally dodge all things Impact. Your show keeps me informed. Well, to those of you, appreciate the love and support. Thank you guys so much. Meanwhile, for that second tie there, tied at 35%, Loved it. Top to bottom, awesome pay-per-view. Michael Smith had this to say with regards to Slammiversary. Only watched the main event out of boredom and curiosity. Omega did not need that win. Also, why the fuck wouldn't the entire men's roster come out to help Sammy? Is everyone there perfectly happy? From a storyline standpoint, that a guy from another company, that being Omega, holds their world title doesn't make any sense. I totally agree with that, Michael, and thank you for leaving that comment. I totally agree with that. You're not going to find any argument out of me whatsoever, no pushback whatsoever. That's been one of the most significant problems that you, myself, and everybody else has been having in regards to this whole program / partnership going on there between AEW and Impact Wrestling. Again, it all feeds into that whole one-sided analogy. It feeds into that whole analogy I've been using about AEW being the hot blonde. Remember, AEW is the hot blonde, and Impact Wrestling, they just give her whatever she wants. You niggas had enough? Give me some more. You niggas with the bomb shit? Give me some more. Hey, Swift, where do we eat at? Give me some more. I all know you don't need that. Give me some more. Cash in the money crib? Give me some more. Everybody needs love. Give me some more. You want anything to say? Give me some more. Flash with the cash. Give me the ass. Give me the ass. Little Busta Rhymes rap in there for you guys. Yeah, but I totally agree with that. Let's see here. I think and then there were some comments there for Money in the Bank. There was actually 2 comments for Money in the Bank. Kofi Kingston fan, he just said it was an awesome pay-per-view. Cool. Big dude, JC. So, JC. Who the hell is JC? John Cena. Edge, Lashley, Hardy, Mysterio. Man, it's like the ruthless aggression era is here. Yet again, you should add to that, big dude. You gotta make sure you say again. Yes, is here again. Yes, is here again. I totally see. Yeah, really crazy, isn't it? Just think about that for a second. Here we are in 2021. We got John Cena. We got Edge. We got Lashley. We've got Jeff Hardy. We've got Rey Mysterioso. Right? We got all these guys. We got Goldberg. At some point, we're going to get to Lesnar coming back. Shelton Benjamin's still running around. I mean, look, MVP. We also got to put MVP in that conversation. Weird time warp. Lashley as well. We could also put Lashley in there and make sure we show that extra love there to Lashley. Because it's crazy when you take a step back and you think about it. Very crazy. Appreciate all the interactions from you guys. Love it. Let's see here. I don't know what's more crazy. Crazier. An almost 50-year-old Edge running around in 2021. Goldberg running around at 54, going on 55 in 2021. I don't know what's more crazier. Just, thinking about some of those things. Or just looking at the entire picture of all of those names that I just laid out in general. And like so many vivid, fun memories come into mind. For some of these guys, I'm going back to when I was either a late teen going into my early 20s, or the fact that here I am at age 40 and some of these guys that I just named are still running around all these years later. I mean, you also got to put Orton on that list as well. Randy Orton. You also got to put him on the list as well. It is fucking crazy. It really is. And, I don't know if I should be like crazy or if I should be like, God damn, so much time has flown by. And it's like, wow, has it really been 20 years? Your guess is as good as mine, y'all. But it's, when you think about it, it's, yeah. For me, honestly, I gotta go with, wow, it's actually been 20 years. Like it's actually been 20 years. It doesn't feel like it. For me, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like maybe 10 years. But the fact that it's been, 20 plus years, wow, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, Joel, it's awesome still seeing some of these people that, are not only still in great shape, very recognizable, but in the ring they can physically still go. Look, I know how we all felt about Edge versus Roman Reigns, but let's give Edge his flowers where it's due. For a guy that's pushing close to 50, to ask him to go out there, totally not needed. We really did not need Edge to go out there. Yeah, pal, give us about 35 minutes. We really didn't need him to go out there and do that. We did. That should have been trimmed. That should have been trimmed to about 20 minutes. But the fact that we had Edge out there just conditioning wise, he was able to go. He really didn't look. He didn't look blown up to me. I don't know about you guys. He didn't look blown up to me. He looked like he was. Everything that he was executing, I was watching him carefully. He looked pretty damn good. So yeah. All right, so we're going to stick a fork in it. We're going to call this show DONE done. You can definitely continue on with the conversation. Please, you guys that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads, you're going to be checking out the webcast stream on YouTube, Twitch, or whatever. Leave your comments. Let me know what you had thought about Raw tonight. Let me know what you thought about John Cena, Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Nikki Ash. Let me know what was maybe some of your favorite moments, highs, lows. Leave those comments. I'll definitely read and respond to every single one. Even if I don't type out a full comment, I will definitely at least like and heart your reply, let you know that I did read it. But I do read any and all that that definitely comes my way. And as you guys get ready to make your exit, if you haven't done so already, please definitely make sure you hit that like. Helps us out tremendously as far as YouTube channel recommendations go. And click that bell, subscribe, all that good jazz. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. For those that tuned in live, made it up to this point, thank you so much. Again, those of you who will be checking this out on demand and the downloads, thank you guys so much. Appreciate that. We'll do this again for you guys this Tuesday night, July 20th. We will be on again, just a couple of minutes after 10 o'clock. I'll say 10:15 p.m. Eastern. If I can come on sooner, I will come on sooner, and we will talk all things NWA Power for you guys. All right, till next go around, wishing all y'all to be safe, most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see y'all next go around. Adios, y'all.